Hello, thanks for listening, and welcome to Carbon Cli-MATES, an energy podcast dedicated to discussing all things energy, carbon, and sustainability. We also like to focus on what's getting hot, besides from our planet. I'm your host, Anya, and today I'm joined by my Climate co-host, Bailie, who I'll be introducing now.
Hello, everybody.
So, Bailie is a PhD student at Ulster University, focusing on low carbon buildings. And we're going to delve, I mess up even more. It's grand. That they love the real life.
We're going to dwell right in
into your job in a bit. But can you tell us first, how have you been? How's your week been? And can you tell us a bit about yourself?
So I busy. What I've been up to this week. So I've actually been on site by Passive Houses, both in Maherfell and Monaghan. Just the admin stuff, really, changing batteries and things like that. All the good and exciting. Just information you want to know. I was at Maherfell yesterday. Had to reconnect a few bits of equipment back to online. And today, yes, I was doing my tutorials on law and governments, because we're required to do a bit of teaching to get maybe do working within the university later. So I was teaching law and governments, the quantity surveyors and environmental health students. So
very, very good. And you're teaching in the new Ulster University building?
I am. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you find it?
It's so much, it's like a dream compared to where we were at Jordanstown. It really, really was. Everything's so new in there, and makes it more exciting to go on and things like that, you know what I mean? But no, I love it, everyone else loves it, and even the students love it too, so it's fun for everybody.
It's I think I just remember Jordanstown, the block, the lawn, like, like I used to do the engineering classes in the lab, which is at the start of the building, like block 16.
Yes,
and then maybe you had a lecture all the way at the other end.
I know, and it's like along the mall, the mall.
So could you describe or give us the title of your PhD or your role, or just...
So my job title is a PhD researcher within Ulster University. My title of my topic, we haven't fully got a concrete one yet, because it's all subject to change, and it'll be probably finalised now again soon. But essentially, my title is like low energy design versus passive house. But my sole focus or gap in research is an off-site volumetric passive house located in Northern Ireland, so in Maherfell in County Derry.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Very impressive.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but
that must be really interesting to explain to people. Like, I think as soon as people think like house, they're like I love talking to people where it's like, okay, yeah, this affects me as well. It's like, oh, here, what type of house could I get in the future?
Do you know what? It actually really opened up my eyes as well, because when you think of building house like construction, it's the bricks and the cement and things like that, where this house was actually built inside like indoors, and it's a Tenta construction, so they have like a big yard, big warehouse at the side, and that house was built in 3 sections, so bottom floor, first floor, and then the roof, and that was all. It took a couple months to build, but that house was all put together like a jigsaw in one afternoon.
Oh,
so it took a couple hours, so it really is a whole new different way of house construction. It is absolutely brilliant, and the house itself, it's a lovely house.
Oh, wow.
And you wouldn't have no idea that it was like, it looks like a jigsaw. Obviously it's not the purpose, but you know what I mean. It's such a far better way to really open up my eyes.
Okay. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely delve into that more later. Again, I messed up 12. Okay, I think it's just a recurring thing. So could you tell us, how long have you been in this sector?
I don't even see, to be honest, like I don't even feel like I'm fully in the sector. I feel like I'm earning my right to be in it, if that makes sense. Like my PhD, like I'm stepping in, even though I've been there like years now, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to say, I've been doing my undergrad energy, so 4 years that, so probably about 5.5 years.
5.5 years. Yeah.
About that.
You know what? Every time I'm on this, I'm on this, like I'm doing an episode of this, and I say like, oh, I've been in this sector, like, post,
Yeah.
like in every, like, been in the sector so many years. Every episode it changes. So sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 6, and it's like, right, okay, what are we counting from? But yeah, no, here, that's where I think I felt like that. Like I think right after, like, not even right after I left uni, but this job, when it, like the first couple of months of it, I'm like, I need to,
Yeah, you need to find your feet a wee bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get you. I think it's because I haven't fully gone out and worked with like companies and things like that. I've always
Gotcha.
been in the university setting, so I feel like I'm still learning more than contributing, if that makes sense. You know
I
what
gotcha.
I mean, like projects and things like that. But obviously that's what the PhD is. But I don't know. It's just how I feel sometimes. I'm going. I'll get there. I am getting there.
But you're at the forefront, like you're developing. You were talking previously before the episode began, about using the same software, IES.
Yes.
And then you're using the Passive House tool, but you're probably going to be developing and looking up all these techniques that like we will eventually use in the future. So you're at the forefront, definitely.
I'm at the forefront, but I'm still learning. It's a slow process, but we'll get there.
Oh, brilliant. Well, see, when you're at school, did you ever envisage yourself in this sector?
See, to be honest, no, I don't think I ever really had an idea of what I wanted to do. But looking back and reflecting, I think I was always in this area, if you know what I mean, like extracurricular stuff. So I was always my subjects in school that I was really passionate about was science and geography. So that really lines up with where I am now.
Yeah.
But outside of school, I would have done volunteering at the Riverwatch Locks Agency in Derry.
Right.
So they would have done foil ambassador programs, which was like getting to know your local community and doing like litter picks and things like that, and taking away invasive species like Malayan balsam and things like that. So I was like the social worker. If I was a part of, so I was like working with the Locks Agency, but I was also part of that group. So no one could come to me for things like that, and I could tell them my experience because I did it previously a couple of years ago, and it was a brilliant program. It really was. So I think I've always been involved in that area, so that it makes sense for me to be where I am. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's actually really great to hear that, like, you're almost like you're drawn, you're like, you're called, the sector called to you.
It was just all around me. I didn't even realise. I think I was just quite naive. I didn't really think about things much. But looking now, I was always a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's really great to hear. Nice. I'm not going to tell you what I wanted to do or what I thought I was going to do. But when I was
go on, you to tell us now.
Well, when I was 18, I was going to be a zoologist. And then,
I think everybody had that dream. I swear to God.
Like I'm going to work with animals in Africa. Like this is going to be amazing. Like the wild thornberries, and stuff like that. Then kind of dawned on me, you need to be good at biology. And I was scraping C's.
That's funny you say that because I applied for biology in Queen's. That was my first choice. It wasn't human biology; it was plant biology.
Right.
So it was like biological sciences, but that aligns up with marine biologists and zoologists. They all have the same first year.
Oh my goodness.
We're living the same kind of life. But that was my first choice, and I, to be honest, I actually didn't get the grades. I got BBC, but you need 3 Bs. They had me on the waiting list, and I thought this was the end of the world.
Yeah.
But look, I spoke with my family and my dad. He actually does building services. He worked a company based in England, and so he gets a lot of things that I'm doing and the regulations and practices and things like that. And whenever that there end of the world was happening, he thought that is not the course that you should be doing. This other course, energy, is where you want to be. That will be brilliant for you, be so much more interesting. And I'm so glad that it all happened because I think I would have dropped out of biology because I didn't think I was that good at it. I really, really don't. I just had this dream of being like you. Honestly.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Well, that's really great. And that's really great. You had that encouragement and everything. Just someone steer you right. Like, so, okay, yes.
You need someone to kind of check in sometimes, you know what I mean? But honestly, it was the best thing to happen, not getting where I wanted to be because it's not where I was meant to be. And look where I am now. I've come so far and I'm still going. Yeah. So that was the best thing that could have happened for me, really, in terms of educational thing.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Very nice. Okay, well, as I said at the start, your PhD, it focuses on low carbon buildings with a speciality towards passive house.
Yeah.
You used like a really intricate term to describe it. It was like,
Yes.
was it low volume?
Offsite volumetric modular.
Goodness.
I know. Everyone thinks the same. So do I.
And we were talking about before the podcast, just about you're doing with Passive House and the tool. And what I would do predominantly is focus on SAP, which kind of like they're essentially the same energy assessment software. However, Passive House includes so much more, like like and it more focuses on like the likes of the design for like no heating, like or no cooling in the building. But I was telling you a bit about SAP and what was I saying? Yeah. So essentially the like passive house tool in my eyes, passive house tool or something equivalent to it, something like it. In the future, that's what Northern Ireland should be using to assess houses for the likes of EPC ratings or building control calculations. Because the SAP software we use now, it is SAP called SAP 2009, and mine was called SAP 2009 because it came out in 2009.
Yeah.
So it is essentially 15 years out of date. Now, we did have new building regulations in Northern Ireland come out that say we need to get a 15% or 25% betterment against like a carbon reduction on this. But still, it's like the methodology is so outdated. England, Scotland, and Wales, they all use SAP.
Yeah.
10.
Of course, we're last.
Yeah, of course, we're last. I actually got really into like I'm like, why did this? Like, why did this happen? And I look back, I found like, okay, it all started to diverge when we weren't updated in 2012.
All right.
And by like what happened? Well, yeah, the executive decided to focus on radon testing. And then again started to diverge even more when we weren't even further updated in 2016. Here in 2016, Brexit was announced, and then the executive disbanded for 3 years, and then it said we're going to review it in 2020, and then 2020 COVID. Yeah. So and it's like, oh my goodness, like it's just weird, like the geopolitical, the external things that happen that like
it affects absolutely everything, doesn't it?
And what pisses me off from what I was telling you about before. So like the SAP software calculates EPC ratings, and they're being used on houses, and they can't and so essentially it's an outdated software that's calculating your EPC rating. And so your EPC rating, you could be getting a better or a worse EPC. If you're getting a better EPC, your house could be valued at more possibly. If you're getting a worse EPC, then you could actually be entitled to funding or a grant that can help improve your home, improve your energy efficiency. Because the better the EPC, the less fuel you use, and so you're saving money. And apologies, I just went on a diverge there. That is my passion. But yes, so you focus on Passive House, which stands for like Passive House, low carbon buildings, and Passive House is essentially a standard of measuring energy efficiency in a house without the use of heating or cooling, or like without the use of focusing on heating and cooling. So it's purely focusing on the design of the house.
Design of the house,
And it refers to a building that that's not requiring a heating system or closed air heating. And yes, okay, I've got a couple of sections here for later that I'm gonna save. But really, so could you give us a breakdown of what your research is looking at? So the volumetric. I'm not going to repeat what you just said.
No, it's fine. So my research, so I am looking into. So I have essentially 5 houses that I'm monitoring. 3 of them are passive, 2 are non-passive, but they are low energy designed. So my gap in research is the house that I have in Harfelt, which we are currently working with Satanta Construction. Mark Grubbin. We work very closely with him. He has been absolutely amazing. He is the most interesting man ever. He's really, really involved in the whole passive house field. So he has come up with the offsite volumetric, and that's where my gap in research is. So that's in Harfelt. So that's one of them. And now down in Monaghan, in Castleblaney, there is 4 houses there. 2 are passive, 2 are non-passive, but the 2 non-passive, lower energy design construction, but they have heat pumps in there. the two passive houses. The two passive houses in Monaghan, they actually don't have any renewable technology in there. While it's desired for passive house construction to have renewables, it's not an essential. It's not a requirement, so they don't have it. But in Monaghan, them 4 houses, they are actually within social housing. So it's actually really interesting to see how because the social housing sector, like a lot of the houses will not really be, the EPC in there might not be great. So it's really beneficial for us to find out, and also for the council. Monaghan Council are very keen for us to give them feedback how they want to invest their money in social housing and construction. So is it worth their while to invest in passive house, or is it going to give us the same kind of outcome as low energy design, which might be a bit cheaper to construct? So my research will look into things like that. I'm going to do a life cycle assessment on the passive house in Maherfeld. I can't do all of it. While I was aiming high at this time last year, you think you can take on the world? No, you got to limit yourself and what you can do and give it your best possible ability. So we've settled on just doing that for Maherfeld. And then Maherfeld again, we are going to do, we're going to use IES software. Put the plans of Maherfeld in IES, and that will then we'll be able to see if we can so what is really important, what we actually have learned from people, it's not how houses are performing now, it's how they're going to perform in future, like in terms of future climates, like whenever if they get warmer, then how are the houses going to perform? So IES will allow us to fluctuate temperatures for future and see how it'll perform in the future, and then also maybe in different climates, different areas of the world. So not only we're testing it in Northern Ireland and how will it work there, and then it would also, we can put it into a different type of area and see how it will work in other climates and things like that, like across Europe. So it is a tool that I am starting to learn. But I will get there. But no, it will be really, really useful, and it'd probably be the most interesting part of my PhD. So I'm in the process of learning that while I'm still gathering data and finishing off lit review and getting some like ethics approvals and things like that. So a lot of ongoing things, but that is the one that I'm most excited for, is to really get that going. The IES and things like that.
Well, here, if you ever need,
I will absolutely take it. I can get to, really, really well.
Any, love to assist any way I can. It's funny you're talking about the different climates, because I know those weather files.
Yes,
it's like DSY2 and DSY3. But we would use those when we're doing like a planning application for somewhere in London, and test the building, like okay, does it survive under these weather files? But yeah, I've just finished one today as well. So. And also it is bad, it's we're trying our hardest to get it to pass under DSY1, but the DSY2, which there's this, I know the SIBSI website, they give definitions of what all these different weather files means, but I think it's like extreme, and then DSY3 is even worse. They're so it's really hard to get buildings to pass. But that's very interesting.
It was meant to be maybe a bit more expensive, so it's what we can do. It's what I can do in the 3 years that I have. So that may as well put all my focus on the volumetric, because that's where the gap is. And especially in Northern Ireland, because there's not any passive volumetric in Northern Ireland. This is solely it's like a test house. So it is. It's not a house that is in the middle of a housing estate or things like that. It's solely off-site. Really is. It's the most rural thing ever, but we actually have occupants living in there, so we can get some real life data on how it's going and things like that.
Oh my goodness.
So but they are absolutely loving it. We keep regular contact with them. They are loving it. They really are, and it is a lovely house, and we ask them simple questions like, how is it warm in here? Are you too warm in here? Because it can't be over 25 degrees all of you know what I mean? And they're going, no, it is absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. And they're really, really, they're getting the real benefit out of it too, and saying, well, why isn't everywhere like this? You know what I mean? So it really is the future, and I'm excited for it. But
oh my God. How long have they been in the house?
So they have been in there now from May, so they're in there nearly a year. Yeah.
Oh wow.
They're in there nearly a year. One of them, so it's actually a man. He is from, I'm not sure whereabouts he's from. I think he's quite local, but his wife is from Canada. And so they actually moved home from Canada and they moved into this test house because I think they know Mark or there's some sort of connection there. But they moved. He asked them he needs volunteers essentially, and they were going absolutely. So they're really benefiting from it, and so am I. I'm getting all their data, so I am. So yeah, not a 1 month for everyone.
That is, I like, that is amazing to hear. Love real life data, like it just shows you the actual.
Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting because we monitor like the energy consumption, heating and things like that, but we also monitor the indoor air quality, which is obviously really important because the passive houses are so airtight.
Yeah.
Is it going to affect the indoor air quality and is it going to be stuffy and things like that? Where we have modern equipment, like it's called Natatmo, where you can monitor temperature, CO2, humidity, radon, PM 2.5, VOCs, everything like that. And it's really interesting when you look at because you're getting the real life data, because you're able to pinpoint times where they come home and things like that. And you know what I mean? One is in the children's bedroom, so we're going, I think I'm still going to bed. You know, it's really, you can really put it into real life perspective. So it is really interesting.
Oh, wow. And it's funny you mention about the like air quality or the air, like, you know, the air passage. Because like we would look at air permeability tests for like the SAPs and EPCs, and at the minute, like, well, and there has been a recent change in standards from SAP 10 to SAP 2012. Yeah, I said that the right order. I'm sure I did. But like apparently all the air tester subcontractors and anyone who's listening who's an air tester, please come on, correct me if I'm wrong. But like they use the blower door method. So they get a fan and like tape it up.
Yeah.
But then apparently there's this new thing, and I don't know if it's using Passive Haus, but it's called pulse, like air testing. And you know what? I don't even know enough about it to like, you know, explain it. But you're supposed to get with the blower door air testing method, you were getting values like 3 or 4, whereas the pulse air testing you're getting like 0.2.
Oh wow!
Like, but it was like measured in a different unit. Not too sure. Like next time you're on, I'll find out more. Like about it. Oh, well, that's like brilliant. And we're talking a bit there. So you're like halfway through.
I'm in my second year.
Second year of your PhD. That's amazing. That's class. Like, have you got any sites about where you want to take your research at all, or like
I have no idea.
Huh?
I was thinking initially, a few months back, I wouldn't mind staying in the university setting. I think I'm a forever student. I think I don't think I get comfortable and I don't want to leave, but I'm ready to go and see what I can do and where I can go. And you know what I mean. So I have no plans, but I'm open for anything really. I don't think I'm very picky.
Listen, I'm speaking on behalf of our director, Alan, but EPP are always there. So, like, you know,
hi, Alan.
if you want to, he listens to us and he's like, Anya, can I have a word with you? Oh, brilliant. But okay, so you're doing a PhD. Is that kind of the training in itself, or was there any sort of program you had to look at, or is it just pure research to like get your like, you know, go into this like field?
Pure research.
Yeah.
I feel like a toddler sometimes. I think I go to my supervisors and they'd be going, hey, asking the most outrageous questions. I think sometimes I think I come in and they're going, oh jeepers, what does she want now, kind of thing. But I don't think I had any training. I think I would have really benefited from training, but sometimes it's better just to get stuck into, isn't it? You know what I mean? You get things done and you get exactly what you want. My undergrad, would I say that it trained me? See, to be honest, no. I have we did a bit of passive, but we didn't do anything obviously to what I'm doing now. So, but I did a lot of the renewable side of things, like wind and like biomass, things like that. But I don't think it essentially trained me. I don't. Maybe it has. Maybe I'm just blinded, but because I feel like I still know nothing. But no, I wouldn't say if I've gone on any training. What I really would have benefited from was software training.
Software.
Yeah, because I am not software girl. No, no way. I will research. It'll take me about a time to research, but I will. But whenever it comes to software, no. I would love training in that. But Ulster's very good. They there's the doctoral college. They will set up workshops and ask everybody who's doing research, is there anything you would benefit from? And we will see how popular everyone wants. Like say, because I have to learn Python, which is a coding, because of so much data coming in.
Right. Yeah.
It's the likes of Excel is not compatible. It freezes. It's been an absolute nightmare. So I've been trying to learn Python. So they've put on Python classes. So they have, and they in terms of IES, there's now IES training in May and things like that. So they're really really helpful. So they are as a university. I couldn't applaud them more. You know what I mean?
I will say this. I was actually I went to Ulster for my bachelor's, and then I went to Queen's for my master's. But Ulster definitely provided more resources.
I think I've never went to Queen's, but I would say that too. To be honest, I know so many people that went to Queen's, and it doesn't seem like they get the same support as we do. I think Queen's is very
I felt very. It was like they gave a topic, and then quick go.
That's what it is. It's very like cold shoulder or something. You know what I mean? Well, you're in university. This is the bad world, but no, you need help. You need help. Yes, later in life, you will always get help. You know what I mean? If you're in a job, you ask your director, your boss, your line manager. You will always get the help. So why wouldn't you get the help there? So no, I think Ulster really is just. I couldn't applaud you anymore, Ulster.
UEJ forever.
UUB now.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I love it. Hey, brilliant. Well, thanks for explaining a bit about your role, Bailie. Actually, hold on. Before I move on, wanted to point out that we had the same placement. Yes. We're former placement students of Belfast House. Yeah, Belfast Trust in the energy department. And you know what? It's so weird. I don't know if it's a thing like BC before COVID.
Yeah.
I just look at that time differently. And I'm like, what was I doing? Like, what was I doing?
I think I'm a completely different person. I don't even know who that girl is anymore. I'm going, you knew nothing. You know what I mean?
But it's very interesting. One of the things I will say about that role, that was the first time of myself coming across the building monitoring software like BMS.
Yeah.
Do you do is it like not the NITEC, or it's the remote desktop?
I can't remember what it was called, but we did it actually in my year. Whenever I was there, I think it was maybe my last month or two there. They were changing that, so it's a whole new different software or website that we use now. I'm not sure what it's called, but we would have had the meters and things like that. It was over 1,500 meters across the trust.
That is mad.
1,500. I think it was 1,502. That's how much it's embedded in my head.
Oh my goodness.
I know, and Knockbracken's huge.
I absolutely loved when like looking up the meters and then you're seeing if the renewables or the biomass or the CHP was operating. Yeah. And then you typed it in, did the wee graph, and it was like, it went orange. I'm like,
you had your monthly graphs and things like that.
Thanks so much for explaining about your job role or your previous experience. It was very insightful. So each section or each episode I like to tailor a wee section to my guests, just like about them, and like ask some questions or spit some facts at them and get their take on them. So I originally had a title for this. It's called Don't Be Passive.
Very good. I like it.
And okay, like, you know what, because you like it, I won't change it.
No, I like it. I like it. Keep it.
That's good. It's got the passive seal of approval. Like, okay. That's good. Okay, well, I want to talk to you a bit about the origin of Passiv Haus. So, did you know the Passiv Haus, it was created in, really should have taken down the date, but I didn't. Passiv Haus, it was created in like the 1980s.
Yep. And
it was by a research organisation that wanted to follow up an idea of a house without heating. And yes, so that's the way, like,
it's from Germany. I think it's maybe really late 80s, maybe 1990, maybe in 89, something like that. But it's derived from Germany, and it was Dr. Wolfgang
Wolfgang's like it.
Yeah.
It looks familiar. It looks familiar.
So it's from Germany. I can't remember which part of Germany. I think it was. I remember looking at the map, maybe north, something like that. But no, yeah, like yeah,
It was no, of course you know that because you're like you're in the sector. Okay, but yes, well, you're talking about researching areas in Northern Ireland
Mhm.
of Passive House. So, did you know in 2022 it was announced that there would be 219 Passive House homes developed
Yes, I
here in
read that, so I
Belfast?
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what I read this article I read the article, and what I loved about it is the guy. I'm gonna name him because it was named in the article, so it's okay.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
public domain. Okay, won't get sued. But the guy John Corrigan, apologies if I mispronounced your name. But he said that he had the house,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Oh, I was shocked to see the price of my fuel bill."
Yeah.
But I could afford it. I could afford how much oil was.
Mhm.
But then I started thinking about the people who couldn't afford it
Yeah.
and like what that might do.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, you're tailoring or you're
Yeah.
designing these houses
Mhm.
that don't necessarily need heating or cooling and just pretty much like save people
Yeah.
hundreds, thousands even on fuel bills.
Yeah. I actually work closely with a man, Shane Coakley.
Okay.
He is very, very high up in the passive sector. I think he's a part of the Passive Institute.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm saying the wrong title, but he is absolutely right. He's done a pile of research. He did his. I always refer back to his PhD. He did his in 2010 or 2012. But he's done so much passive house work across Ireland. He actually looks a lot in social housing as well with passive houses. And I remember him taking a lecture last year, and also now attended it. And he was going through all the statistics and their data and the results he's gotten from his studies. And it was a lot social housing and things like that. And he was saying, well, why aren't we? I'm telling you all this great information, like this is brilliant. Your fuel costs about maybe 320 a year, things like that, electricity. Why aren't we doing it? And then he was saying, you can't. So costs approximately would be 3 to 5 grand extra. It's actually maddening when you think about it. 3 to 5 grand. If you from construction to build your house, a passive house standard, and but if you were retrofitting a house, it can cost nearly as much as you want. It's like it can minimum like 40 grand, I don't even know, but it's really, really so much more expensive. And he's thinking, well, why aren't we doing this? Like, so in terms of social housing, think of the council. They're not a housing estate of 100 houses, an extra 35 grand each house. They're not going to do it. You know what I mean? It's like how much extra money whenever things are operating okay.
Yeah.
From beforehand. And then he was saying like, so you can't charge extra, you can't charge more rent or whatever for energy efficient houses because you're not allowed to.
Yeah.
And then he was going on to, I actually thought he was just telling me stuff I probably you already know in your head, you know what I mean? But whenever someone's saying it out loud, I was going, oh my god,
Yeah,
you're right. This is where the issue is. And then he was saying how like how it's linked to NHS and how these houses how it costs NHS. I can't know, maybe a couple of extra £1,000 a year for houses that aren't as much as energy efficient because you're going to have people coming in who have going to have respiratory issues and things like that. So it's linked to absolutely everything. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
And I thought, oh my god, you've given me this lease of life that I want to do all this work. You know what I mean? So no, he is one that is really, really. He's so interesting. He is a lot of work he's done. I would definitely recommend even like looking him up on like LinkedIn. He's a very good network to have. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, here I'll definitely.
He's absolutely brilliant. So he is, yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'll tag him on the the other guys.
No.
Oh, but that's great. Like it was short and sweet, but I hope you enjoyed the grumpy passive section. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you said you said you've worked on domestic so the 5 like buildings
Yep.
Is there any other buildings you've worked on or that you want to work on?
I would be open. It would be really, really interesting to work on maybe a passive building, like an office building or something that will require so much energy. It would be so interesting to like. Not that I would obviously do retrofitting, but you want it to be from the get go. If essentially, you know what I mean, you want to avoid all the costing of retrofitting. But it would be really, really interesting to see if implementing passive standards and an office building for like that, because you're going to have even like all the lightings and computers and things are on standby constantly, because you probably don't, a lot of people's businesses don't turn off
Yeah.
like your machine at the end of the day. It'd be just really interesting in a building like that for work. That would be something really, really good.
Okay. Right. Well, here again, talk to us. We've probably got a couple of trials. You can
Hi, Alan, again.
test it. Yeah. That's good. Okay. Well, now, like I always ask these questions, and it's not that they're nerdy questions, but can I ask, what's your favorite thing to do? And you said about using IES.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do in IES that you've started learning how to do?
My favorite thing. Do you see? Oh, you've really hit me with a question.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going. I think the futuristic side of IES will be probably not. I've not got there yet because I'm still in the really early processes of learning IES because it's such a massive software. But I think that will be the most interesting part that I will really love.
Yeah.
It's seeing how it'll perform in the future climates and things like that, and then putting it into a different area. I think I'll really, really enjoy that the most because it's the part I'm most excited for.
Okay, yes.
That will be really cool.
It's always you always see it like say you're looking at temperatures.
Yes.
And you, like say if you run a simulation in IES, and you're like, okay, those temperatures, and then just the future just spikes. Like you're like, oh, it's gonna get so much worse.
I know. And then it's like you can change the construction of the house, and you know what I mean. So that'll just be so cool. It's really interesting. That's my nerdy answer.
But yeah, like it's really like it's really great to see like. Because this thing, even like, and it's great to know that like now the likes of the bachelors of energy that you studied, they're teaching software programs like this, or they're letting people know about it. Because even during my bachelor's or my master's, had no clue about any of this. Like they covered a bit on BREEAM, like as an environmental rating assessment, and then that's half what our company does. Like
that really helped out.
Like I didn't realize the full practicality of like everything until it's actually in the sector, and it's like okay, but yeah, it took me. I'm not ashamed to say, like, to be fully workable. And I've been in this business 5 years. Again, see,
I'm scared for your answer because I need to know it last week.
to be like, so say to get your basics, to know your stuff. Say a month, okay? Like to know, but like the guides out there, they're so like they're really helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. But like it took me about a year before I was like, okay, I'm fully I fully get this now. Like I'd be doing stuff 6 months in, and like I've got no idea what I'm doing.
Oh gosh. But does anybody really know what they're doing? Yeah. I mean, you think you're in somewhere and you're going, oh my god, I'm an imposter.
But as you were saying at the start, great encouragement helps.
Yeah.
When I started IES, I'm not afraid to say, I didn't have too good a teacher. Kind of taught myself from that point. So yeah, see, like, you know, like we, like, you know, it's like, this isn't a job. PPP aren't like proposing, like, you know, but like, honestly, places like us building performance prediction, or like anywhere else, I'm trying to think of another energy consultancy in Belfast, and all I can think of the ones that are in England. So, BBP Energy for now. But yeah, we're like more than happy to help out, give step-by-step guide, because the research you're doing is vital and it's like so important, and it's just like, okay, anything we can do to help.
Be great.
Like,
I will take absolutely any help I can get. So, of
course,
thank you.
Of course. Well. Really, can I just say you've been absolutely amazing to have on. You gave such useful information, and it's been really interesting to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Just before we go, do you have any advice for any prospective engineers or researchers or sustainability professionals?
Advice. Your network is so important. I didn't realize that until probably the last few months. Having a good network around you, it is so helpful, and it's great to know what they're doing and what experience they have. I think network is absolutely so important, and also see the So I would recommend if you can do software training. That's how much I need the
Yeah.
software training. But it would be absolutely amazing if I walked into this PhD with IES training under my belt or Python or things like that. That would have been an absolute dream. No, I think you look at the help around you that you can get. It's always really, really important and so handy to have. But software training is so, so essential. You don't realize when you're going to use it, especially if you're in this area. You're going to come across projects or I don't know, situations, jobs, whatever. And you're going to need IES. It would be so handy for anyone to have. So I would definitely recommend IES sort of training or PHPP training, or and that's a Passive House package. So many any type of software training that you can do, I would definitely recommend doing it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you again, Billy. My bit of advice again, it was just more play on the topic. Is it like the don't be passive section?
Yeah.
I was gonna say less aggressive, more passive.
Yes.
To kind of like,
Like it.
fight for passive.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't be passive.
Yeah, don't
Don't be passive, guys. Don't be
Yes.
passive.
Oh, that's brilliant. But yeah, thank you again. You'll definitely be back on.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Carbon Cli-MATES. If you follow us on Instagram at carbon_climates, you can keep up to date with all our latest news and posts and new episodes. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.